Last night we said goodbye to Amphibia in one of the most emotional series finales of an animated series that I've ever seen, as Anne Boonchuy does the hardest thing possible, putting that power of heart on full display, as she makes a huge sacrifice for not only her friends and family, but the multiverse as a whole. While it's gonna take time to break down this gigantic finale, currently aiming for a Tuesday or Wednesday upload, I know a lot of you are excited to hear my thoughts on the finale, and I am itching to talk about it. So for now, let's just unpack the ending of Amphibia, as a few things were left open-ended and probably left you with a few questions. And to celebrate this Amphibia finale, why not pick up our new 3 Stars Tarot card shirt over on Toondrip? Now sure, their Calamity forms aren't super accurate to how they appeared in the hardest thing, which is a risk we knew going into the making of this design, but the artwork and quality is just so good that I think it's still worth it, but who knows? Maybe we'll drop a more show-accurate version in the future. And to stay in the loop with our post-Amphibia content, as we have quite a few video ideas left, but we do want to bring variety back to this channel, be sure to subscribe to the Roundtable with notifications on, so you never miss a video. With all that said, let's dive in. Picking up after the events of All In, our heroes return to Amphibia and declare victory in the war against King Andrias. However, Sprig is quick to notice that the moon is getting closer and closer, as the helmet of the core, now separated from Marcy, makes its way to the moon and activates its final protocol, ramming the satellite right into Amphibia, Majora's Mask style. Mother Elm arrives in time to inform Anne, Marcy, and Sasha that this is it. The prophecy has come to pass for this moment. And should they choose, they must use the power of the 3 stones to defeat the core and save Amphibia once and for all, risking their ticket home in the process. A tall order that they accept. But before they go full anime, Mother Elm informs Anne of a secret spell, a last-ditch effort to defeat the core at the expense of the user's life. Which reminded me of Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Not that they invented spells, I just missed the show. No ending is gonna tarnish my memories of that show. Valeriana restores their power, and we just jump right into it, having a huge Saint Seiya, Dragon Ball, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic 06, Promare Gurren Lagann Subspace Emissary battle that gave me everything I've wanted since Season 2 and more. But alas, as it's Marcy and Sasha's first time going super, they tap out sooner than Anne, forcing her hand and leading to her performing the spell, wiping out the core and herself. In a tragic scene that broke my heart and would have really messed me up as a kid. I mean, look at her! The crack on her face looks like a bloody tear. This moment was just absolutely brutal. And then wakes up in a place that absolutely boggled my mind, as what we thought, which is a Super Mario Galaxy reference in Season 3A, the painting in her bedroom, was actually blatant foreshadowing for this very moment, this very location. Anne meets the 3 Stones deity, who initially takes on the form of a computer like it's Courage the Cowardly Dog meets Undertale, but then takes on the form of Domino, paying off what many people thought to be foreshadowing back in Adventures in Cat Sitting back in Season 3A.
Domino is not just a cat, she's the Alpha and Omega, an interdimensional being beyond all time and space.
To make a long story short, the 3 Stones deity wants Anne to take over the role. But Anne's like, nah dude, I'm only 13, I got a whole life to live. And just because you may think I'm the only one fit for it now, doesn't mean I'm gonna be later. This entire series has been built around change, and it's that very concept that causes the deity to see mortals in a brand new light, leaving the door open for Anne to take over eventually, once she kicks the bucket at apparently age 91, but not anytime soon. She has a whole life to live. So the deity presents Anne's soul with a copy of her body. At least that's how I chose to look at it.
I made a copy of you right before you expired. A backup, if you will. For all intents and purposes, you're the same Anne Boonchuy.
Meaning that this is simultaneously our Anne and a new Anne. Steven and the Stevens type beat, you know? I consider this portion of the finale to be Disney's first Gainax ending. What does that mean? Well, a Gainax ending refers to an anime trope, where a series, mainly those produced by Studio Gainax, has an ending that either doesn't make any sense, or is just considered to be an absolute mindfuck, causing you to view the series in an entirely new light, or just leave you scratching your head with some questions and some newfound existential dread. And yeah, considering how the deity pitched Anne's reincarnation here, I would personally call this a Gainax light ending. and returns to the living world with 3 Calamity shards, a gift from the deity, which Anne, Sasha, and Marcy use to say their goodbyes and return home. My favorite departure being Sasha and Grime, where Sasha tells Grime that he better find Percy and Braddock and tell them that she's sorry. I can already tell some fans are disappointed that Percy and Braddock didn't come back, but honestly, I love and respect that writing choice. It gives some real consequence to Sasha's past behavior, and because this is the story about the girls, when Sasha loses them, we as a viewer lose them. After an unspecified time skip, we get a look at the future of Amphibia, one that's healed from Andrias' industrialization, as he now spends his day farming with Barrel's Warhammer, a symbolic gesture towards the late Leaf Planter, who was a gardener in the Newtopia Kingdom and would later go on to found Wartwood, living out the rest of her days as a humble farmer. It's unclear if Andrias is a free man or not. There are notably chains around him which, aside from looking stylish, may mean he was imprisoned, but eventually freed during this time skip. It also appears he's going blind, so I imagine without the course connection, the man is finally dying. I actually think his forfeit during the rematch with Anne may not have just been a borderline suicide attempt, but a way to ensure he gave up his immortality by opting to never repair his body. Polly's a fully grown frog. Sprigg seems to be developing his own journal, just like the family tome and presumably Dr. P book, both of which written by Leaf after her initial departure from Amphibia. Loggle tragically lost his gains, and Toadie became mayor with the help of Toadstool. Now Grime, Union, and Olivia have all arrived for the ceremony, being referred to as delegates, so we can infer that frogs, newts, and toads have maintained peaceful relations, actively working towards a community that works together, finally getting rid of the toxic hierarchy that Andrias had instated for over 1,000 years. Though this begs the question, who leads Amphibia now? Who's leading the newts? We can assume it's not Andrias. And Lady Olivia isn't wearing anything that insinuates she's king or queen. So I have my own theory. It's possible that Newtopia, as we knew it, no longer exists. The city was essentially destroyed in true colors, and the castle is now right next to the city instead of within it. I suspect they may get rid of the gates entirely, as the gates were kind of a reflection of how Andrias and his family shut themselves out from the rest of the world. While what used to be Newtopia may still be a newt-populated area, and thus where Union and Olivia live, Union also mentioning that she's no longer General Union, it's entirely possible that they're now establishing democracy, electing someone to become leader. Instead of having one sole leader, they may just be led by a council now, restoring Newtopia to a hub that welcomes frogs, newts, and toads. All kind of life with no discrimination. We can also assume the many creatures that Andrias and his family enslaved have now been set free. Ivy informed Sprigg that her mom found a new continent, which may be the sequel bait Matt Brawley was referring to, as Sprigg is game for another adventure. That's right, the door is open for an Amphibia spin-off, a sequel series that could focus on Sprigg and Ivy. Although Matt Brawley has insinuated that he wouldn't want to do anything like that until a little while down the road. Back on Earth, we cut 10 years in the future, to like what, the 2030s? Where Marcy, now a successful webcomic, is picked up from the airport by Sasha, who was confirmed to be bisexual, and the shippers have never felt more alive. It looks like Marcy's in town for Anne's birthday, and the news report states it's the anniversary since the big frog invasion, which insinuates the entirety of Amphibia, minus the time skip, took place over the course of a year, with the invasion happening around, if not on, Anne's birthday. But let's keep that speculatory until we get solid confirmation. Sasha became a social worker with children, helping them figure out their anger issues, which I thought was just perfect. Sasha states that her and Anne fell into different friend groups in high school after Marcy moved away, which I know disappointed a lot of people, but if anything, I think it makes this ending more empowering. Not only is it natural for people to drift away even after they've been through something as intense as this, but we saw the flaws in this trio's friendship. The fact that Marcy is flying out to visit them now tells me that not only has their connection never went away, but if anything, now that they've gone out and had more life experience away from one another, now that they blossomed and matured as people, their friendship will be stronger than ever as adults. And Anne now spends her days hosting an exhibit for frogs at an aquarium based off of Amphibia, which is of course a nod to what Anne and the Plantars thought their last day together might have been back in the episode A Day at the Aquarium. Anne modeling this exhibit exactly after Amphibia, but we'll point out the exact details in our breakdown. I thought this was a beautiful ending, and showed that even though Anne let go, she still found a way to honor the Plantars and the life-changing adventure she had. And of course, she can never forget Amphibia whenever she's with Sasha and Marcy. And after the credits, which didn't air on Disney Channel, the final shot of the series shows a new BFF photo of Anne, Sasha, and Marcy, and I almost burst into tears when I first saw this. I won't even hold ya. Friendship is power. And with that, Amphibia came to a close. As always, these are just our thoughts, and we want to hear yours. What did you think of this finale? Let us know in the comments below, or keep the conversation going at Roundtable Vids and at Vox by giving us a follow on Twitter and Instagram. If you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like, and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Check out Toon Trip, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya!